You know, folks, the one thing about MAGA that absolutely sickens me the most is the way that they will go to bat for the absolute worst of people. And they always make excuses for the absolute worst of people. We all sat back and we watched what happened on January 6th. And ever since then, we have been gaslit every step of the way. And we're told that those people are patriots and they're hostages, and 3 years was just too long to be in jail for beating up a police officer. That was just too long. And when we would point out, hey, some of these people was actually found guilty of seditious conspiracy, well, still, they were patriots and hostages. You got to forgive them for that. You got to let that one go. And they always go to their whataboutisms, and they'll point to protests that got out of hand, and they'll say, why didn't those people pay the price? And you can never pin them down and make them say that anything that anyone on their side of the aisle did is wrong. And that's because those are the people that they depend on most. The reason why that Donald Trump truly pardoned the J6 insurrectionists, who, by the way, a good chunk of them are already going back to jail because they were violent people to start with. But the reason why that he pardoned them is because that's his base. That's who he needs. And he knows, hey, I can call upon these people. And by pardoning them, that sends a message to everyone in MAGA that, hey, there's nothing we can do. There is absolutely no law we can't break for this dude. And it just truly disgusts me to sit back and watch. They will go to bat for anyone who goes out there and does a salute. They'll call it an awkward hand gesture, or they'll say, oh, you guys just call everything you disagree with a Nazi, but you never hear them call out Nazis. You never hear them do that. And they will sit there and they will defend racist over-the-top behavior every time. But then they'll try to skim over it and go, well, obviously I don't agree with that, but let's forgive this person for that. And that's the case of this next story. Elon Musk had this Doge dork, that's what I'm going to refer to him as, the Doge dork, who had posted a lot of racist things online, but now it's time to bring him back. Let him work, because he has to be forgiven for that. We can't hold his stupid past against him. We don't want to see his life destroyed over his racism. That would be we can't do that. And J.D. Vance, who is married to an Indian woman and has biracial children, is sitting here going to bat for this racist Doge dork. And I'm going to take a look at this. This is the Vice President of the United States not having the backbone to stand up for his own wife and his own kids. It's truly disgusting, but here we go. I'm going to go over to the dumpster fire that is X, and we'll look at old JD's feed. So he says, here's my view. I obviously disagree with some. That's interesting. I disagree with some of the Doge dork's post, but I don't think stupid social media activity should ruin a kid's life. That's all it was, folks. It was just stupid social media activity. Don't ruin the kid's life. We shouldn't reward journalists who try to destroy people ever. Oh, yeah, don't go after the people that said that's racist. Don't go after the people that called it out. Oh, heaven forbid, no. Let's not ruin this kid's life. So I say bring him back. If he's a bad dude or a terrible member of the team, then fire him for that. Okay, now let's go on up here and you'll see more of JD's blatant hypocrisy. He says, I don't worry about my kids making mistakes or developing views they later regret. I don't even worry that much about trolls on the internet. You know what I do worry about? That they'll grow up to be U.S. congressmen who engages in emotional blackmail over a kid's social media. So he's always trying to find a way to go back and blame this on us for pointing it out and never really calling out. Obviously, I disagree with some of it, not all of it. Let me go ahead and let me say this, folks. I disagree with racist on every fucking thing, because if they're a racist, I want nothing else to do with that person. I don't value any opinion they have on anything else. I don't care how much they might love a Gibson Les Paul guitar played through a Marshall stack. I don't give a damn. I'm not going to be in agreement or say, oh, well, I like some of their views. No, if that's the kind of person they are, that's the kind of person they are, and I want absolutely nothing to do with them. But JD, he's not worried about kids making mistakes. He's worried about people calling out the kid. It's ridiculous. And then this one here is probably the worst, because someone posted, are you going to tell him to apologize for saying normalize Indian hate before this rehire? I'm just asking for the sake of both of our kids. And then JD responds, for the sake of both of our kids, grow up. Racist trolls on the internet, while offensive. Notice how he says it's offensive. He doesn't call it out for the wrong that it is. It's offensive, but it don't threaten my kids. No, JD, it absolutely does. It absolutely does threaten your kids, and you're too stupid to see it. But you know what does, he says? A culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes, a culture that encourages congressmen to act like whiny children. Has anyone told him that he is working for the most whiny child of them all? That has become MAGA's entire shtick, is being the whiny kids in the room that won't shut up and won't take any accountability for their actions. And if you won't stand up for your wife and your kids and get more specific and call out this racism and call out this bigotry and call out this hatred, to just say, oh, well, yeah, it's offensive, but it doesn't hurt. No, it does hurt. It hurts a whole lot of people, and it hurts your wife and kids, and they're looking at you realizing you don't have the backbone to stand up for it. And do you want to know one of the most ridiculous comments I get from people anytime that I make any post where I talk about race at all? I will get messages and I will get comments that say, you must have a black wife. And I always find that interesting. I'm like, so you think I'm only saying this because I have a black wife? I don't. I'm not married, and I've never been married to a black woman in my life. But that's the talking point you're going to go to. You're going to say that the reason I'm speaking out on social issues and the reason why that I'm saying let's put an end to hatred, let's put an end to racism. You think that's because I have a black wife? That's the logic you use. Yet the vice president has an Indian wife, and he won't speak up or stand up for her. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so disgusting to see them always. They will always go out of their way to go to bat for those kind of people. They will always go out of their way to minimize it and to sweep it under the rug and act like that we're just trying to come after people and trying to destroy people's lives. I don't want to see people's lives destroyed. We have all said and done things in the past that we regret. We have all been part of things in our lifetime that at some point in time, if you went back and dug through everyone's closet, you would find plenty that they would say, you know what, I really regret that move. So I'm not here to demonize people over that. And I've never been a fan of cancel culture because cancel culture was created by the right. They're the ones that created it. And then years later, they found a way to flip the narrative to where anytime they started to be held accountable for their actions, oh, they're just trying to cancel him, man. They're just trying to cancel him. No, some people don't want to be associated with racists, and some people don't want to be associated with insurrectionists, and some people don't want to be associated with assholes. Okay? And so they call them out on that speech. But they want to have unchecked speech when it's them. But when it's us, they would love to see us destroyed. They would love to see our heads on a silver platter. Where is JD's forgiveness for people like us that constantly calls out the wrongdoing? And why isn't he? And how can he honestly look his wife and children in the face and then just let it just roll over it that smoothly? Well, that's offensive, but let's not destroy this kid. His kids are going to grow up seeing this. I don't know if they'll ever break from him. I don't know if they'll ever, one day, years from now, we may be seeing them talk about it the way that we have other Republicans in the past whose sons came out and said, yeah, my dad was definitely had lost it back then. I don't know. I guess the future will tell us. But it's just they're always going to bat for this type of person, and they're never calling it out. So Donald Trump's going to be attending the Super Bowl. Yeah. He's going to be attending the Super Bowl, and so the NFL removed "End Racism" that was printed at the end of the end zone there. They've removed that. I've heard that Donald Trump didn't have nothing to do with it, but I guess they realized he was coming, and hey, wait, that might offend him, so let's make sure we take that down. And there are people celebrating this. There are people that said, oh, that was pointless. They should have never did that to start with. Man, I just want to watch football. I don't want to think about that. I want to sit and watch black athletes entertain me with something I don't have the ability to do. But I don't want to think about not hating them while I'm doing it. That's how pathetic these people are. So to all the people who are praising the end racism, those are your racist. And to if you want to find the Nazis, if you've been looking and you can't figure out who the Nazis are, well, just post on social media, just post "fuck the Nazis." All the people that chimes in to say, you shouldn't say that, man. You shouldn't call everybody that disagrees with you a Nazi. You found the Nazis. Because what they should say is what we've all said for the last 80 to 100 years is, fuck the Nazis. It's so disheartening that this is where we are. Kamala Harris losing this election wasn't about a Republican beating a Democrat. We have bounced back from that before. The Democrats have lost to Republicans before, and we got back in and we cleaned up their mess. This was about this type of hatred and bigotry being normalized and being validated. That to me is what the biggest loss was out of all of this, is now these people feel more empowered than ever. And they're all going to come back out. They're all going to, yeah, take that old end racism off her. Forget about that. That's woke. And there will be an entire generation of kids that will grow up to just believe everything that they see when they get called out for their behavior. Oh, that's somebody being woke. Don't listen to them. So the hardest part about this loss isn't that a Republican beat a Democrat. It's that pure filth got the microphone back and feels more empowered than ever. That's the most disgusting part to me. But I truly appreciate y'all for supporting what it is that I do here on the channel. I appreciate your support, and we just continue to grow here. And I really appreciate your support. So if you haven't already, be sure and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and get in on these conversations if you feel like it. And, you know, a YouTuber probably shouldn't tell his audience this, but I totally understand if you need to unplug and walk away from this crazy world for a while. Unplug, take care of your mental health, and get back in the saddle when you're ready. Because a lot of people will always accuse us of just trying to get clicks and trying to get hits. Don't get me wrong, we all love to see that our channels are growing and that we're getting viewed, but I want my listeners to take care of themselves, and I want them to take care and be well. And so, hey, if you miss a couple of days, you're out spending time with your family and getting away from all this madness, and you come back on, don't try to backtrack and weed through all that. Just pick up where we left off, and we'll keep the conversation moving forward. And I truly do love and appreciate all of you.